Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Shine. Today we have our fourth guest, Jose Delgado. And as you can see, we have our first visual component ever. So this should be very, very interesting. So, Jose, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. My name is Jose Delgado. I am a freshman at the Honors College, but I'm a junior by credit. I was in the medical field for a long time throughout middle school and high school, and that's how I started getting into research at Max Planck. But I'm currently majoring in data analytics.
So, you said you're currently a freshman at the Honors College. And like many of our guests who also go to the Honors College, what would you say is like the best part of being a student here?
The thing that I think is the best thing, and it's what initially attracted me to the college, is the small classes. So instead of going to like UF or these other big name schools where classes can be up to 100 students, I like just having a direct relationship with the teachers. So I know if I'm stuck, I can directly reach out to the teacher and they know my name and they know my strengths, my weaknesses. And it's just building that personal relationship and having the ability to know everyone's name and just know them personally. I think that's the best thing ever.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the best part about this college is, like you said, the small classroom sizes. And that also allows for great opportunities outside of the classroom as well, because you become so close with these professors and you get to kind of network around and find out very cool things going on around. So now that we talked about the Honors College for a little bit, I want to ask you about your experience with extracurricular activities, any work you might have done currently or in the past regarding research.
So with extracurricular activities, I am a freshman and I came in during this COVID pandemic. So not much extracurricular activities I could have indulged in as much as I would like. But hopefully next semester I'll be able to start digging in a little bit more. But in regards to research, I actually did not do my research during college. I did it during high school. So I did it at Max Planck. As you can see, I'm repping the hoodie. So Max Planck, they actually offer a high school summer internship for incoming juniors and seniors. And I applied when I was an incoming senior. And luckily, I was able to get accepted. I was one of six students out of over 100 applicants. So it was a really cool experience.
That's pretty impressive coming into college with, research already on your resume. How do you think that changed your, I guess, overall outlook on what your college experience would look like regarding research? Because you did neuroscience research, right, at Max Planck, but now you're doing some other type of work. So how do you think that helped you connect your current interest to what you did in the lab?
So when I was at Max Planck, I first off, I love neuroscience and I love research. It's really fun and it's really thrilling just being able to uncover new things. So I definitely would like to have my career somehow relate to research. And while I'm at Splunk, I met some people who are actually data scientists, and that's why I'm aspiring to be a data scientist. So in the future, just because now I understand what research is like and how beautiful the process is, I definitely am considering getting involved with it with my future career. So although I may not be in research directly, I still want to have it associated somehow.
Yeah, I think with neuroscience, you can kind of connect it with any field really because it's such a vast field and there's so many areas that need, it's super interdisciplinary is what I'm trying to say. There's like physics professors that I know that are working on neuroscience projects at Brain Institute, and there's like data scientists and AI researchers. It's pretty crazy. So if you come from any skill set, you can really apply your skills to neuroscience. So I wanted to ask you about your research experience at Max Planck. So, you were in high school. Were you a senior?
Incoming senior, yeah.
Incoming senior. So how did that help you overall, I guess, with, getting your foot into research at such a young age?
I think one way that helped me out a lot was just basically forcing me to work harder. I come from a Title I school, and there the classes are pretty lenient. You don't really have to do much. Really, you could fall asleep and still get by with an A in the class. And I was a high school student, never took neuroscience or anything specific in my life, and here I am, basically doing a complicated procedure. I remember that Mass Planck they have a little library with a few books, and I picked out a thick microbiology textbook. I just rented it and took it home. And for the first 2 weeks of the internship, I just basically did all nighters trying to study and learn the basics. Because at this point, I didn't even know something simple as like the first part of the DNA is a 5' and ends with 3'. And I remember my mentor, Dr. Andre Steinig, he asked me, "Oh, did you know this?" I'm like, "I don't even know what prime is. What do you mean by those numbers?" So I spent a lot of time to study, and I guess that's how it helped me, basically instilling that determination and that hard work, and that knowing that these things don't come easy for a lot of people, and it didn't come easy for me. So I just had to put in the work, and now I'm used to being able to study and just put in the work to understand things.
Yeah, I hear you. I also can relate to what you just said. And that's something that a lot of people get wrong about coming into research, where they think you have to know everything right off the bat. And they forget that when you're an undergraduate and you're starting out in your first lab, or you're in a high school program, similar to the one that you went to, there's only so much that you know, but there's a lot that you still have to learn. And that's what the mentors are there for. They're there to teach you, they're there to train you and tell you everything that you don't know. And a lot of people just have that misconception where they must know everything in order to be, a good lab mate or be impressive or something like that. And that's totally not the case. Uh, so yeah, I will agree with you on that. So what did you do exactly during your time at the Max Planck program? How long was it actually?
So the internship was for 10 weeks. So it started June 10th and it ended July 19th. And the last day we had to like basically present our research and what we did to the Brain Institute, if I remember correctly. And so what my specific project was called the In situ hybridization of cortical chandelier cells. Excuse me, in situ hybridization of acetylcholine receptors in cortical chandelier cells. It was a mouthful, and it took me like the whole 10 weeks to actually understand what that meant. But basically, overall, the abstract is that we have some inhibitory neurons called chandelier cells. And my mentor, on Dr. Andre Steinig, he found out that acetylcholine is what causes these chandelier cells to branch out and create vast networks. But now there's different types of acetylcholine receptors in these cells. So there could be alpha 3, alpha 4, beta 1, beta 2, etc. And we want to see which type of receptor is most dominant in these cells, because each receptor causes a different affinity or sensitivity to it. So my goal was to basically do an in situ hybridization where I would create a probe that has the complementary strand of this receptor, and basically attach it to a tissue and do a fluorescent imaging. So once I do the in situ hybridization, I will look under a microscope. If I see some colors, then I understand that the probe is there, meaning that this receptor is there. So I would do this probe for like each specific type of receptor, specifically alpha 3, alpha 4, and beta 2.
So going back to in situ hybridization, for those who don't know, what does that mean? And like you said, you're trying to see if the probe is there. So can you just say maybe what it is and what the purpose of the probe is in regards to your project?
Sure. So a little bit more specifically, the in situ hybridization is basically where I'm connecting two pieces of RNA together in a way. So I have my target RNA, which is the sequence of the receptor, and I have a complementary strand. And this hybridization basically just connects them. So one way to think about it is a jigsaw puzzle. So my target RNA is a piece of the puzzle, and I have to create a complementary puzzle piece that will connect to it. And the hybridization part is just finally connecting them, making sure that they join. And with this in situ part, I just the complementary strand has a fluorescence attached to it. So when I look at it under a microscope, I can see a fluorescent color.
So over the course of those 10 weeks, you said you had to learn a lot. You had to do a lot of, new protocols and learn all these things. What are some personal things that those 10 weeks taught you and that you will take with you on your next, research or academic endeavors?
I would say that again, the hard work was definitely one thing. And one other thing that came across me with this journey in Max Planck was that Max Planck, they have this thing called the Journal Club. Basically, like every 2 weeks, someone would read a journal that was recently published and they would present it to everyone else. And knowing me, the overachiever that I am, I decided to sign up for it. And I was appointed by the Wong Lab about mice and USBs and basically that mice can sing. And how to read this paper. And again, I don't know nothing about neuroscience at this point. I barely do anything. And I spent a long time trying to read this article back to back and reread it and all this stuff just to understand it. So I guess with that, after I studied and after I presented it, they said I did a good job. And I was proud of myself because I challenged myself to do something that I've never done before. And I knew that there were going to be challenges because, again, I know what half the stuff in that paper meant. So I think that's one thing that I'll always keep with me and I'll always remember. And because of that, I'm not afraid to challenge myself anymore. I think that's important for everyone to have that courage to challenge themselves to further better themselves.
No, yeah, I think that's great too. I agree though with the journal club. I do one every week in my lab, and gosh, when I have to present, sometimes, excuse me, it's so scary. Sometimes I have to pick out a paper, and I'm just going through like PubMed. I look up something that's relevant to like what we're studying, and I find a cool paper with a cool title, and then I actually start reading it. And there's so much that I don't know. So I'll like split screen my laptop. So I'll have like the paper, and then I'll have my notes, and then on the side I'll have like my iPad or my phone with Google on it. So then I'll just have to like scroll through Google, write down notes, and then it'll take me like a couple days to a week to just like even grasp some basic things. But with practice, you get better. I'm taking cell bio right now at the HC, and we do weekly paper presentations. So every week we have to like learn the new methods of a paper and really understand it because we have a presentation every Thursday. So that's been super challenging. Like you said, I think with time you lose that, feeling of fear when it comes to learning new things. And, there's like so much you can learn from these papers, and the way you think also forms itself every time you read it. So I think it's really beneficial. And for those who are like afraid to, jump into things like that, like a journal club, because, you're in a room full of people who have PhDs, who have studied this for many, many years and are literally experts. And yeah, you just have to put yourself out there, I guess is the thing.
Yeah, like you said, it's like a room full of PhD people, and I'm over here, a high school student. When am I going to more PhDs? But I'm sure you can agree that even though it is challenging, it's just a fun process overall. And that's why everyone does it. It's just extremely fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, you don't have to become an expert on what you present. You just have to learn it. And then if somebody knows more about it, then they will teach you about it. And that's what science is. A lot of people think science is this big, scary field where you must know everything. If you don't know something, then like you're not, made for it. But no, that's not true at all. They will, help you build your knowledge, and everybody has something to teach, and you can take something from everyone and they can probably take something from you. So I think that's something very nice about the research field. So now moving forward, you have your research experience. Right now, what you said you're studying data analytics, right? So moving forward, what are some future projects or, anything that you might do in that field in the near future?
So, as I mentioned, I was in the medical field for a long time, and medicine is still one of my passions. But to personal reasons, I decided that it was the best course of action, and I went to data science. Um, so, I would definitely love to somehow get involved with research and medicine. So, possibly get into a position where I can somehow work in the hospital, see how to reduce patient costs, or basically somehow better the system for the patients in that way. Because data science is a new field, and a lot of companies are still trying to become data literate. And with data literacy, they'll be able to manage costs and improve customer satisfaction and stuff like that. And I think that it's important in the hospitals and medical system for data scientists to work to improve patient care. So that's where I would like look to go to and research, of course. So maybe a part-time job in both. We'll see. We'll see where that takes me.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And your graduation is when?
May of next year.
Nice. So you how do you feel about, the pandemic kind of hindering your college experience? Like, like your first year of college was just Zoom class and not many extracurriculars, like you said earlier. So how do you think you're gonna make the best out of this upcoming year?
I mean, I'm just gonna try and get involved as much as I can. I mean, the pandemic did kind of put a halt to the college experience, and I'm sure that a lot of people, since they were young, they would look forward to college and the experience that it would bring. It was a little disappointing at first, but we just grew used to it, and we played the cards life handed us, and we just keep moving forward. But luckily, I was able to get connected with cool people such as yourself, Matt, and get involved with organizations. So, you win some, you lose some, and we just keep going from there.
Yeah, so I don't know why I didn't mention this at the beginning. Jose is the vice president for Engage Florida, the nonprofit that we are doing this podcast with, which myself, I'm the co-president, and Vineet is the co-president. But yeah, I should have mentioned that at the beginning. That's probably important. Yeah, this is Jose. He's very cool. Awesome, Jose. So thank you so much for coming in, well, virtually. And just before you go, I want to ask you, what is one piece of advice that you would give to an incoming college student who is like, I don't know, I don't want to say clueless, but just who doesn't know? I mean, I was clueless. I have no shame, but yeah, who just like is unclear of what they want to do when they just get here.
Honestly, I would recommend to just experiment and get involved because that's the only way that people will have an idea of what they want to get into. Because if you don't get involved with anything, really, you won't have an idea of what any field is like, and you just end up getting lost. And you'll be forced to try these fields once you graduate. So it's better to do it now that you're in college. So get involved with different clubs, maybe a law club, a medical club, a philosophy club, or different nonprofits in the area. Just get involved, be active, and expand your network, and you'll find something new.
Well, thank you again, Jose. And thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So yeah, Jose Delgado, and we'll be seeing you guys a lot more with future projects. So thanks again and have a great day, everyone.